Oh my gosh, I did this story over a month ago and then it just got too hefty. Like it was like hours long because I went down the rabbit trail, the rabbit hole, and then he's like doing like right like the day that he raped this girl or the day before it was something like that. He was doing this sermon and he put it up and it was like on Facebook or YouTube or something and I was going through it. And at the tail end he's like, I'm a cop. And I was like, oh no. So he's like a church pastor and this like sheriff dude or something. And it's an insane story. It's pretty bad. And then I didn't even pay attention to it since because I thought he got arrested and that was the end of it. Oh, I guess he got arrested and then they let him out on bail and then he fled. Something like that to Texas. This guy's insane. What was the original story? I think we're gonna have to rehash it because it was so let me find a better one. I don't know where the one is that I clicked on because it was just like, okay, let's go to Daily Mail. Like, let's just go to Daily Mail since I usually do the bigger breakdown. Okay, so pastor sends sickening text messages to 15-year-old after giving her alcohol and raping her, telling her that he prefers her to be passed out after after the assault and not before. And then he was arrested. Yeah, so I ended here and he got arrested and it was like Monday on charges of including sexual battery of a minor, and he was released on a 75K bond later that day. I mean, literally nothing. The young victim believes that Chitty, and his name was Chitty, and I was like, oh, Chitty. I got this whole thing about it. He spiked her drink and eventually lost consciousness. And he's 62 years old. A Florida pastor raped a 15-year-old whose drink he spiked and then texted her to say, I prefer you passed out after I play, not before. And then a pastor at First Baptist Marathon in Marathon, Florida, allegedly sexually assaulted the minor on the couch in the church library on Sunday. Yeah, so it happened like right away. Like he touched this girl and then he did the sermon. It was so crazy. And then he gets arrested like right away. So I thought it was over with. He was arrested Monday morning on multiple charges, and then he was held at the Key West facility, but late Monday bonded out on 75K. Total hillbilly dude, right? Like, oh my God. And then he's pictured with his wife. Um, and then deputies were alerted to the incident by an anonymous caller who reported that they overheard the young girl telling an adult that she'd been raped. So somebody else heard it and they're like, oh, okay, we're going to report this. Like, what the hell? And then so Chitty said he believed he was about to be accused of something and he wanted to get ahead of it. And then, yeah, I think it was something at the church thing. Anyway, it was posted and it was like, it made the clip like way too long. And then I just like, I don't know, like lately I just been in like not the mood to edit like long things like that anymore. I don't know. I don't mind doing them, but I don't want to edit them. And then I just went, and it's taking up a lot on my computer. So I'll try to get through this. Okay, so he intended to take the girl home to her grandmother while delivering meals to the homeless. And seeing she was drunk, he had allowed her to sleep on the couch. That's what he said, or something. Because he said he helped her to lie down on the couch but did not touch her after that. Okay, but the victim told deputies that Chitty gave her what she believed was a spiked drink. So it was completely, he made up his own version. It wasn't true. Okay, she claimed after drinking what she thought to be vodka, which he shouldn't be giving her vodka, she felt weak and could not walk and eventually lost consciousness while at a church. When she came to, she found Chitty performing oral sex on her, and then that's just the whole thing is frightening. Okay, so in those messages, which were found on both her and his phone, right? So Chitty made references to have sexual relations with the girl while she was impaired. In the report, the young girl stated that after he was done and left, she got up and ran out and called her grandma to pick her up. The terrified victim showed her grandma sickening text messages from Chitty, and deputy says it came from the same number used to contact the sheriff's office. Okay, so, he was complimenting her genitals and using a cat emoji. He proceeded to tell her, I prefer you passed out. Okay, not before. And then you can't even remember. And then in another text, he told her, you can't even remember what I did. Okay, so Shitty interrogated her what she remembered and told her to describe to him what he did to her. And then when the victim accused him of abusing her, he called her by her name and told her to straighten up. And then Shitty complimented the young girl's genitals again, IG short for I guess, and then just say thank you. And then Chitty's married to a woman, and he's a pastor for the he was a pastor for the sheriff's office and was a registered volunteer, a role that he was a pastor for the sheriff's office. There shouldn't be pastors for the sheriff's office. I don't know if that's a mistake or what the hell, but to date, she said he has not performed any services for the office. What? That was a new one. Okay, so no, because when he was doing the preaching, he was going on and on and on, and then he goes, and then I also had been a sheriff, like he was going on like that. Okay, so this happened. He was scheduled to be arraigned April 1st. Yeah, so that was the end of the story. Okay, so then when we go back, I guess this is what happened. This is crazy. This story is too much. Pastor accused of raping unconscious teen caught after fleeing state. Okay, a Florida Keys pastor who was allegedly on the run after he applied alcohol to a teen and raped her has been arrested in another state. On Friday, police took 62-year-old Monte Chitty into custody in rural Woodsville, Texas, where he approached a religious group working with the homeless. Someone at the site called law enforcement. That thankfully, because some of these people would have helped him cover up. The church leader failed to appear at a court hearing on Monday, miles away, 1,300 miles away from Florida, where he is accused of abusing a 15-year-old girl. Authorities say that in March, an anonymous person contacted police about overhearing a girl who told an adult she'd been raped. The victim later told investigators that Shitty gave her alcohol and she passed out immediately after drinking it and awoke to him molesting her. And the girl said it might have been spiked. And then police also found text messages on the phone. Okay, yeah. So then he volunteered with the sheriff's office and claimed that he helped the girl lie down on the couch but did not touch her and fell asleep. And you got to question, like, how many times has he Bill Cosby people? Because he's really old and his conduct is so out and about, like he's just proud of it and no problem. How many times he's done that? And then he runs, right? Prosecutors in March charged him with sexual battery contributing to delinquency of a minor. And that should be in a lot more cases because all these adults that have been raping kids, it seems to have this included where they gave us a drink. So regardless of anything, they need to be charged with that thing on top of it, like doing this stuff. I don't know, but they just haven't considered any problem with those. I mean, they just tend to leave it out and they blame kids for drinking when somebody had to give it to them or it was in a vicinity where they were able to get it. Okay, so he was released on $75K bond, but he's now being held on a $1.3 million bond pending extradition back to Florida. Before moving to Florida, Chitty worked as a pastor and a police officer in remote Alaska town. In 2012 incident, Shitty allegedly exchanged disturbing messages with a girl who had been living with him. Oh, okay, yeah, see? And his family, which prompted locals to buy her a hotel room and a one-way plane ticket so she could escape. What the hell? Okay, we got her out because she was scared for her safety. And then Shitty's First Baptist Church in Florida, that Christians should oppose all forms of sexual immorality, which they're like anti-gays, I'm sure, including adultery and homosexuality. Oh, yeah. And pornography. Okay, so they're going to be hitting up any woman that they deem as, whatever. Okay, so they hate everybody but their cult. All right. So that's his church, right? But they're not against pedophilia. They're always for raping kids. That part is okay. Somehow it's not part of sexual immorality because God gives men little kids. Okay, so that's the story. I just thought I'd bring it up because it's pretty crazy. It's an ongoing thing. But wait a second, before we even go on, because the other story wasn't out yet either, because I got it when it kind of initially came out on like some small news site. And I was like, what the hell? And so I was looking because it's another pastor, he's going at kids. And how he did it was just crazy. He was a pastor and a cop. He's a pastor and a cop, the two worst things you could ever be. The other thing he could be too is a doctor, pastor, and a cop. We should have that one, but okay, now he's wanted on charges for molesting a teen at his church of Florida. Okay, so yeah. So there was a video of him preaching on the last day. That's why I was like listening to it, seeing like what how's he going on, Uh, okay, so he was there for over a decade. Okay, so the former church leader in Cold Bay remembers the disturbing incidents where locals pitched in to buy a woman a flight out of the remote community so she can get away from him. They said that traded on his status in the church and law enforcement to gain trust and to get close to people. That's the same thing as the music industry. It's like the same concept. And so anyway, he used the two safest, most trusted roles in a community. I don't trust either one of those roles. Me, no. You guys, maybe. I lost trust in that community about 3 decades ago. Yeah. Okay, so then, who lived in Cold Bay when Chitty was a pastor there? And, yeah, so nobody did shit out there. And Alaska's actually known for being one of the top areas for rape. I don't know why. I guess because it's so secluded or something. I don't know what the reason is, but they're kind of like just well known for it. And we got a serial killer that came out of there too. So yeah, it's not really a good place for women just generally. So that would be the perfect place for perpetrator men to live. Yeah. The Cold Bay Aleutian Pribilof Islands Associated hired Shitty as a village public safety officer. Yeah, we're gonna hire the perp as the safety officer, quote unquote. Ladies. In Falls Pass, a community with even smaller year-round population. Okay, so the village public safety officers are often only law enforcement in small communities, and they're employed not by the state, but by the regional tribal organizations, like these people on the Island Association, and administer the job. They undergo different training and are often paid much less than their counterparts who work for state or municipal law enforcement agencies. Shitty didn't last long on the job. People in Falls Pass say they complained Shitty's behavior was strange, and he was a bad fit for the community. And he left less than a year later in September 2015, and he was not a pastor in the largely Russian Orthodox community of Falls Pass, but did hold some kind of summer Bible camp. I don't even know what Russian Orthodox is. I'm like, I actually don't. So he left Falls Pass in good standing. Okay. And then he was hired as a VPSO for Akutan, an island community with a large seasonal seafood processing workforce. Shitty worked in Akutan until 2021 before heading to Florida to buy a boat and semi-retire. There's something bizarre about the story because it says we have no reports of sexual misconduct when he worked for us at all. And Shitty has no apparent Alaska criminal record. Okay, well, somebody had to flee from him. You guys didn't arrest him, so, he's not going to arrest himself. The other thing, no, okay, so my point was the cult pastor and them like to hit up small, like, more rural areas as well. Like it's a weird thing. And I was like, they constantly want to get money from people. So I don't know if it's just a thing because small town, like these places that are in the middle of nowhere, is just easier for them to prey on people because it's not a large population. I don't know. But then they came back over here and did stuff. But then they purchased some things outside in some rural areas. I mean, they're really rural. Like we're talking like 1,000 people or less. It's just bizarre. So I was like, I don't understand it. Mostly if you're trying to get for money, right? It's like, how do you get a tank of money off of a town that only has like 1,000 people? I mean, So you have to be networking in different ways. I mean, you can only get so much from that, but I don't know. And then if you do something bad, then the entire town's going to know, you know? And then you have to flee the area cuz you can't really get away from it. So I don't know. It's just something weird with some of these guys where they hit up these small little places. I guess because they just figure no one will find them in these weird, like, obscure area. I don't know. It's just strange. Oh, and do you see how they always throw love out here? Love. Yeah. Yeah. This is their version of love. Rape a kid.